Hey guys, Kim here of YugaTech, and it's finally here. Samsung has just dropped their newest, most powerful smartphone to date, the Galaxy Note9. So right off the bat, it has a familiar look and some familiar features from the S9. But we still need to answer the important questions. Is it good enough to convince Note8, S9, and S9 Plus users to upgrade? Let's find out. In terms of overall design, it's pretty similar to the Note8. It's still huge being a Note device. It's still rectangular with curved glass on both sides, and right here, the sort of metal frame has a nice matte finish. In the hands, it definitely feels premium, sturdy, and hefty. If you guys have ever held a Galaxy Note phone before, you'll know what I'm talking about. None of that has changed. But even with its size, grip isn't that much of an issue, even for someone like me with smaller hands. This is because of how thin it is, and also the great screen-to-body ratio. What is slightly difficult though is the placement of the buttons. Slightly higher than before, so it's definitely harder for someone with small hands. The same can be said for the super tall 18.5:9 screen, and it really requires you to use both hands, especially if you want to reach the top. The buttons and ports are all still in the same place as before. We have the volume and Bixby buttons on the left, power lock button on the right. Up top are the secondary mic and SIM tray, and the audio jack, USB Type-C port, main microphone loudspeaker, and S Pen are at the bottom. Let's talk about the S Pen for a bit. It does have the same dimensions as the Note 8, but it's new and improved. It's now Bluetooth enabled. You can use it as a remote camera trigger for hands-free selfies and group photos, or even for advancing slides when doing a presentation with a built-in DeX. More on that later. It still works with the always-on display, but this time, depending on which color of phone you get, writing on the always-on display will have a different color. Pretty cool. So for the blue model, it comes with a gold-yellow S Pen, so that's what you get. The copper one is a copper pen as well, so you get that. And the black one is a black pen, so you just get the usual white. But aside from those new things, we still have the classic S Pen options pop out when you pull out the pen. So you have your notes, Smart Select, Screen Write, Live Message, Translate, etc. At the back, we have the dual cameras, sensors, and a newly repositioned fingerprint scanner, which we need to talk about for a minute. Compared to the Note 8's awful fingerprint scanner positioning, this is godsend. So when using the Note9, you tend to hold it somewhere in the middle because of both the height and where the buttons are. Because of this, fingerprint scanner is way more easy to access, and we must give props to Samsung for recognizing their error last year and making the adjustment. Alright guys, let's move on to the display and audio. It's rocking a 6.4-inch Super AMOLED display with a tall aspect ratio of 18.5:9 and a max resolution of 2960x1440, which makes for pixel-packed 514 ppi. It's ever so slightly bigger than the Note 8 screen, but from what we can gather, we have the same exact quality. It has the same WQHD Plus resolution, and it's a Super AMOLED display, so this fact is not in any way a bad thing. It's awesome for anything from photos to watching videos with a friend or two, or playing your favorite games. The colors are punchy, blacks are deep, and it gets bright enough to use even outdoors. The large size also means it's great for multitasking, which is something you'd want to do a lot on this phone, as the Note series has always been more work and creativity geared. The 2960x1440 resolution is super crisp, but it does use a lot of battery, so you actually still have the option to bump down to HD Plus or Full HD Plus. There's also different screen modes which are Adaptive, AMOLED Cinema, AMOLED Photo, and Basic. Color balance can also be tweaked. There isn't a general perfect setting, so you guys will have to just experiment and see what works for you. For us, Adaptive mode works great. The Note9 has dual AKG speakers with Dolby Atmos, which is really surprising since Samsung owns Harman, AKG's parent company. Just like other phones like the iPhone X for example, it uses the loudspeaker at the bottom plus the earpiece for a stereo effect. For a smartphone, Sound quality is really good. It's loud and crisp and should be great for those of you who like to game a lot or watch videos. The phone is also loaded with audio features like an equalizer, UHQ upscaler, and something called Adapt Sound, which is pretty interesting. It uses a sound profile based on your age. And remember, for you wired headphone junkies out there, the Note 9 is one of the flagship phones left that still has a headphone jack. Now moving on to the back, let's talk about dual cameras. So it actually uses the same hardware as the S9 Plus, dual 12-megapixel sensors, one with a wide-angle lens and the other with a telephoto lens. Samsung has said though that there have been software enhancements to improve quality. It has AI capabilities with auto scene recognition, face shape recognition, and flaw detection. There is also OIS, UHD 60fps video, as well as 960fps super slow-mo video. We have absolutely nothing to complain about when it comes to photo and video quality. Shots are super crispy with a high level of detail, dynamic range, and natural yet saturated colors. The combination of both lenses also lets you get a nice bokeh effect with a live focus or portrait mode. It's not always super accurate and other phones in the market can do it better, but Samsung got really close this time. The zoom ability of the telephoto lens is super impressive. You can go all the way up to 10 times digital zoom, and it isn't even super shaky thanks to the iOS. UHD videos at 60fps is amazing to have, and you can get some pretty cool shots with a 960fps slow-mo at 720p. If you're creative, just like we did with the Galaxy S9 in our collab with BJ Pasquale, you guys can check that video out. We'll have the link in the description or in the upper right. In the front, still same hardware as the S9 Plus, we get an 8-megapixel selfie camera. The Note 9 is a great phone for taking selfies. Small details on the face as well as skin tones are captured pretty well. There's also enough natural background blur so it makes you stand out a little more. And of course, we have AR emojis yet again, which is Samsung's take and Apple's Animoji feature that came with the iPhone 10. So if you guys aren't aware what this is, you can have your face analyzed by the phone, then creates a virtual avatar that you can send to your friends to express a variety of emotions. Love it or hate it, but it's here. Alright guys, let's talk about software. The Galaxy Note 9 uses Samsung Experience 9.5, which is based on Android 8.1 Oreo. If you've used a Note 8 or S9, it'll be very familiar since it's basically the same exact interface. We get plenty of pre-installed apps, mostly from Google, Microsoft, and Samsung. At this point, it's already expected of a Samsung phone to be bloated with these apps. So you still get features that the Note 8 had, like the Edge screen, which is like a quick access to the phone's apps and features. Bixby Virtual Assistant. Love it or hate it. You can activate it by pressing the dedicated Bixby button. Dual Messenger, which is cool because you can use two separate accounts for the same app. And perhaps the biggest change is with Samsung DeX. The little docking station that gave you a little desktop experience. Well, with the Note 9, you don't even need the DeX station because DeX is now built in. All you need is a USB Type-C to HDMI cable and bam, you're good to go. When you're in this mode, you get a desktop layout on the monitor, and the phone itself actually turns into a touchpad for the mouse cursor. And since the phone has Bluetooth 5.0, you can connect both a Bluetooth keyboard and mouse, if you need them. This is maximum productivity mode, you guys. For biometric security, aside from the fingerprint scanner, we still have iris and face scan, which are still pretty fast and accurate, but would recommend the intelligent scan that will use both the face and iris scanners depending on the situation. In terms of connectivity, pretty much everything is covered. It's got 4G LTE Cat 18, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth 5.0, GPS, and USB Type-C. Now all of this under the boot is powered by the Exynos 9810, the same chipset found on the Galaxy S9 and S9 Plus. But depending on your region, it could also be Snapdragon 845. That is then paired with 6GB or 8GB of RAM and 128GB or a whopping 512GB of storage, which is a huge bump. This can even be expanded further with support for up to 512GB micro SD cards slotted in the hybrid tray. So how does this thing perform? Well, as expected, great! It can handle everything we throw at it, whether it's industry standard benchmark tests or gaming. Check out our performance scores here. By the way, our review unit was the 6GB RAM version. These numbers are in the same league as the Galaxy S9 and S9 Plus, which is of course expected since the Note 9 uses the same chipset. The difference though is thermals. We did not feel much warming up during performance testing. This is pretty much thanks to the new cooling system that Samsung put in. One of our disappointments with the Galaxy Note 8 was its 3300 mAh battery, as the Note 9 has a bigger 4000 mAh battery, which is way more appropriate for a phone of this caliber and size. Long story short, it can easily be more than a day battery. Our video loop test got us 20 hours of straight playback compared to 17 hours on the Note 8. In the PC Mark battery test, we got 12 hours and 14 minutes compared to the Note 8's 9.5 hours and the S9 Plus 10 hours and 21 minutes. Charging is also great as it also supports fast charging and even fast wireless charging. Samsung has definitely brought the Galaxy Note series to the next level with the Note 9. It's a huge upgrade over its predecessors with a more powerful chipset, larger RAM and storage options, bigger battery, built-in DeX, and new S Pen. So this is it guys, let's answer the question. Is the Galaxy Note 9 worth the upgrade from a Note 8 or S9? Well, I'm sorry guys, but as always, it's not that simple. It will always depend on you. If you're a fan of the Note series and are upgrading from a Note 8, then it's definitely a huge upgrade. But if you're coming from the S9 or S9 Plus, it's a very small bump for the price tag. If you really want the S Pen, then you're gonna get it anyway, right? Aside from that, it's suited for super heavy users because of the huge screen, huge storage options, and huge battery. That's all there is to it, guys. Whether you go for the Galaxy Note or Galaxy S, it's not like you're making a terrible choice either way. Now I'm gonna pass on the question to you. As always, what do you guys think of the Samsung Galaxy Note 9? Be sure to leave a comment down below. And that's all for now. If you guys enjoyed this video, be sure to drop a like, subscribe to our channel for more videos, and don't forget to hit that bell icon to be notified every time we upload. Again, this is Kim of YugaTech, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!